Okay, let's unpack this. Have you ever looked at your finances and felt like you were, I don't know, running on a treadmill, working harder but not really getting ahead?
Oh, absolutely. Or maybe you've wondered why some people just seem to build wealth effortlessly, while others, maybe even people with great educations, really struggle financially, sometimes their whole lives,
It's such a common paradox, isn't it? You put in all this effort, maybe get the degrees, work the long hours,
and still feel like you're just chasing your tail, financially speaking. Yeah.
and it often comes down to, well, a fundamental misunderstanding of how money actually works, things we just weren't taught.
Exactly. We spend years learning calculus or history, but the actual language of money,
Yeah.
often a complete mystery. It's kind of surprising, really.
That's precisely the heart of it. And that's why this deep dive is all about pulling back that curtain. We're digging into Robert Kiyosaki's huge bestseller, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, the 20th anniversary edition specifically, our mission today. To really extract the most important nuggets of knowledge, the key insights from his work, give you maybe a shortcut to understanding these surprising, sometimes really counterintuitive facts about money that, often go untaught. Or maybe you're even actively misunderstood.
And you are in for some, well, some real revelations, I think. Some definite aha moments that might just shift how you think about wealth, about financial freedom.
We'll explore these two totally different financial philosophies that shaped his life, right? Seeing money through these two opposing lenses.
We're going to redefine what it really means to own an asset, strip away some common myths there.
We'll shine a light on that invisible rat race so many people are running without even realizing it.
And maybe most importantly, why working to learn can be way more powerful, ultimately more profitable than just working for that paycheck.
So yeah, get ready. Might challenge some beliefs you didn't even know you had about success and security.
Mm-hmm.
Let's start right at the beginning, the foundation of Kiyosaki's whole philosophy, this fascinating story of his two dads.
Yeah, it's quite a setup. He had this really unique upbringing, right? Influenced by two incredibly different father figures. Each one represented a totally opposing view on money, work, life, everything.
It's this core contrast, these two different voices in his head, basically, that laid the groundwork for his entire financial viewpoint and, well, his eventual success.
It's a great narrative device, sure, but it was also his real life, a testament to the different paths we can actually choose.
So tell us about Poor Dad.
Okay, so poor dad was his biological father. Highly educated guy, PhD, became a respected government employee, head of education for the state of Hawaii, actually. His values were, what most of us would consider pretty standard, maybe even
Like
admirable.
job security, good grades.
Exactly. Job security was huge. Academic achievement, getting good grades to get into a good college, finding a safe company, or even better, a secure government job. Diligently pursuing excellent benefits, pay raises, solid retirement plans, good medical, sick leave, vacation time, all that stuff.
The traditional path.
Very much so. He loved the idea of tenure. He looked at his uncles who joined the military and got that retirement and entitlement package for life after 20 years. He really believed that after working hard for the government, you were kind of entitled to those benefits.
And what did he teach young Robert about getting ahead?
He taught him how to write a really impressive resume.
Well,
So you could find a good job. That was the goal, find a job.
and his core belief, the phrase he always used.
I can't afford it. That was his go-to phrase. And according to Rich Dad, that phrase wasn't just stating a fact.
No, it's like pulling the plug on your brain, right?
Exactly. Mental laziness, Rich Dad called it. It just shut down any problem solving. No need to think creatively, no need to find solutions. Game over before you start.
It's almost like an unconscious surrender.
Totally. Now contrast that sharply with Rich Dad. This was his best friend, Mike's father. A self-made entrepreneur, 8th grade education, I think, but incredibly financially intelligent. Completely different values.
So what did he value?
Total financial self-reliance. Actively creating investments, building businesses from scratch. He was really emphatic about being financially competent, financially literate.
So he wasn't teaching Robert how to find a job.
No way. He was teaching him how to write strong business plans, solid financial plans, so he could create jobs, create value. His question wasn't, can I afford it? It was,
How can I afford it?
exactly. The empowering question. Rich Dad called, I can't afford it. Mental laziness, like we said, but how can I afford it? That forces your brain, the most powerful computer in the world, he'd say, to work, to engage, find solutions, get creative,
He was big on exercising the mind, wasn't he?
fanatical about it. He believed your financial mind gets stronger every day you exercise it, just like a muscle, leads to more innovative solutions, and ultimately, yeah, more money.
It's really striking when you lay those two side by side. And what's fascinating, maybe a bit scary, is how many people today are still, maybe unconsciously, following that poor dad script.
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
Even though the whole economic landscape has shifted dramatically.
Right. Think about it. 20, 30 years ago, maybe that job security focus made more sense. You could work for one company for decades, get the gold watch, retire, okay.
That's just not the reality for most people
None
anymore.
at all. Jobs are harder to find sometimes. Whole industries are being flipped upside down by tech, automation, AI, robots replacing workers is not science fiction. It's happening.
Millions of jobs.
And a college degree. Still valuable, sure, but it's no guarantee of job security, not even necessarily a guarantee of a job in your field right out of the gate.
Hmm.
We see so many grads with huge debt struggling to find that first relevant position.
And Kiyosaki nails this in the book. He says millions of highly educated people struggle financially because they graduated with what he calls a poor person's financial programming and mindset.
Ouch. But probably true for many.
Yeah. They've been trained meticulously to work hard for money, find that safe job, climb the ladder, get the credentials. But nobody taught them how money itself works, how to make it work for them, how to navigate investing, taxes, assets.
It creates this situation he calls high-risk living caused by weak financial education.
Exactly. You could be earning a six-figure income, but if you don't know how to manage it, you're still maybe one emergency away from disaster. Great at your profession, terrible with the money it brings in.
Which brings us right to that missing link, financial education itself.
Yeah, the big elephant in the classroom, or rather the elephant not in the classroom. Kiyosaki hammers this point. Money is taught at home, if it's taught at all. It's certainly not taught in any meaningful way in most schools.
Right. Schools focus on scholastic skills, professional skills, get you ready to be a doctor, a lawyer, an engineer, whatever. Give you specialized knowledge to earn a living.
But they totally fail,
Yeah.
generally speaking, to teach you how to manage the money you earn, how to invest it, protect it, make it grow. It's a massive gap.
And that explains so much, doesn't it? It's why you see incredibly smart, competent professionals, bankers, doctors, accountants even, who are brilliant in their fields, earn great money.
But still struggle financially their whole lives. Masters of their profession, but maybe financially illiterate. It's like having a Ferrari but no driver's license or roadmap.
He even points to the national debt approaching $20 trillion as a macro example, made by highly educated politicians and officials who, despite degrees, might have zero real training in finance or money management.
It's a systemic problem from the individual household right up to the national level.
So this really begs the question for you, listening right now. Should schools teach about money? I mean, properly teach it.
And if so, what should they teach? Basic budgeting,
Mm.
investing, understanding debt, taxes.
And think personally, too. How did you learn about money growing up? Was it talked about? Was it taboo? Did you learn from mistakes? From parents? From books like this one?
Yeah, what stands out to you about that experience? What lessons do you wish someone had taught you earlier?
Because I definitely didn't learn about assets and liabilities in history class or cash flow patterns in algebra, which is kind of ironic when you think about it. Okay, let's shift gears from mindset to the actual mechanics of building wealth, because here's where it gets really interesting. This is lesson number 1 from Rich Dad, maybe the most profound one. You must know the difference between an asset and a liability and buy assets.
Sounds so simple, right? Deceptively simple.
Just a handful of words. But Kiyosaki stresses that adults often miss this because they've been educated differently. They have a different definition in their heads, maybe from accounting class, that isn't functionally useful for building personal wealth.
Or maybe they're just too proud, too proud to question what they think they already know.
Could be.
Yeah.
So what's Rich Dad's simple, functional definition?
Elegant in its clarity, cuts through all the jargon. An asset puts money in my pocket, a liability takes money out of my pocket. Period.
Simple. Direct.
And the power isn't just the words, it's the numbers.
Yeah.
It's the cash flow. He says if you can't read the numbers, if you can't track where the money is actually going.
You can't tell an asset from a hole in the ground.
Exactly. The real aha moment is realizing how often we get this backwards. We're kind of programmed to see, say, a fancy new car as a status symbol, an asset in conversational terms.
Right. But financially.
Financially, it's usually a huge liability.
Right.
It depreciates the second you drive it off the lot, and then it just keeps taking money out of your pocket every single month. Gas, insurance, repairs, loan payments.
It's all the big house. The American dream asset.
Same story. Often. For many, it becomes a massive financial drain, constantly taking money out. The key insight here is developing the discipline to constantly ask, where's my money flowing? Into my pocket or out of it?
And the book illustrates this so well with those cash flow diagrams for the poor, middle class, and rich. It shows how money moves fundamentally differently.
Yeah, for the poor, income comes in and it goes straight back out as expenses, rent, food, transport. There's no surplus, nothing building in an asset column. It's hand to mouth.
And the middle class.
They typically have job income covering expenses, yes. But then they acquire liabilities they think are assets. That bigger house, the newer car, maybe some expensive toys, often bought on credit.
Things that take money out every month.
Exactly. So their balance sheet might look okay, they own a house, but their cash flow statement tells a different story. Money comes in from the job, goes out to pay for the liabilities. Still stuck.
Okay, so how do the rich do it differently, according to Rich Dad?
The rich focus relentlessly on acquiring assets, things that actually generate income or reliably appreciate in value, things that put money in their pockets.
Like rental properties, dividend-paying stocks, businesses.
Right. Their income from their assets eventually becomes greater than their living expenses. And crucially, the surplus cash flow. It gets reinvested back into buying more assets.
So it compounds, it grows automatically.
Precisely. It's like planting that money tree. You water it diligently, it grows, produces fruit, cash flow, and eventually it provides shade and nourishment, even when you're not actively digging around its roots. That's financial independence, that's passive income.
This leads us straight into one of Rich Dad's most controversial points, especially back in '97 when the book first came out.
Oh yeah. This one ruffled a lot of feathers.
Your house is not an asset. Publishers apparently hated it, pushed back hard.
They really did. It went against the entire cultural narrative.
Yeah.
But fast forward 10 years.
To the 2007 real estate crash.
Yep. Millions of homeowners learned that lesson the hard way, as Kiyosaki puts it. When the bubble burst, values plummeted, people were underwater on their mortgages. It became painfully clear a house wasn't a guaranteed asset.
He points out that even in 2017, 10 years later, many houses were still worth less than they were in 2007. Proving appreciation isn't a sure thing.
And this is the critical point people often miss or argue about. For most individuals, their personal residence is functionally a liability. Why? Because it consistently takes money out of your pocket.
The mortgage payments.
Mostly interest in the early years.
Property taxes.
Never go away, usually only go up.
Insurance.
Mandatory.
Maintenance.
Oh, endless maintenance. Roofs, plumbing, painting, landscaping. It's a constant drain. It doesn't put money into your pocket. Doesn't matter if its paper value goes up. If you lose your job tomorrow, those expenses don't stop. A true asset, like a rental property generating positive cash flow, would keep putting money in your pocket, even if you weren't working your main job. That's the difference.
And beyond the direct costs, there's that huge missed opportunity cost, isn't there?
Massive. All the capital tied up in your house, especially the equity you slowly build, it's locked up. It can't easily be used to buy other assets that could be generating income or growing faster.
You lose the potential for that capital to be working for you elsewhere.
Exactly. And maybe, even more importantly, you lose out on invaluable investment experience.
Yeah.
You don't learn how to analyze deals, manage properties, understand market cycles. You don't become what the SEC calls a sophisticated or accredited investor.
And why does that matter?
Because, as Kiyosaki points out, the best investment, deals, the really juicy ones, with potentially huge returns, often get offered to those sophisticated investors first, before the general public even hears about them.
So the people playing it safe with just their house equity often only get access to the deals after the sophisticated investors have already taken the cream off the top.
Pretty much. They get the retail version, not the wholesale opportunity.
Wow. Okay. So this whole pattern, working hard, getting raises, buying liabilities you think are assets, getting stuck with payments, leads right into what Kiyosaki calls.
So the rat race.
Yeah. That relentless, soul-crushing pattern. Get up, go to work, pay bills, get up, go to work, pay bills.
It's the treadmill. So many people are on it, maybe for their entire working lives, and they might not even consciously realize it's a trap they could escape.
And what drives it, according to Rich Dad?
Two core emotions: fear and greed. Primal stuff.
Fear of what?
Fear of being without money. The anxiety of not paying the bills, losing the house, not having enough. Fear of losing your job. That fear keeps you clinging to the perceived safety of the paycheck, even if you hate the job.
And greed.
That's the desire for all the nice things money can buy. The bigger house, the faster car, the exotic vacations, the latest gadgets. Once you get a taste, you want more.
So it becomes this vicious cycle, right?
Totally. You get a pay raise. Does the extra money go towards buying assets or paying down debt faster?
Usually not.
Right. Usually your spending expands to meet or even exceed the new income. Lifestyle inflation.
He uses that example of the young couple, right? Their incomes go up.
So they buy the dream house,
Wow.
way bigger than they need. Then the new car, maybe two. New furniture to sell the house, max out the credit cards, furnishing it, and taking trips.
And then they might even do that thing where they consolidate all the debt, credit cards, car loans into their mortgage.
Yeah, rolling it all into one low monthly payment spread over 30 years. They think it's smart because mortgage interest might be tax deductible. But what have they really done?
Just dug a deeper hole. Their liabilities column is overflowing. They're trapped.
Exactly. Kiyosaki calls it high-risk living caused by weak financial education. They've just built themselves a bigger, fancier rat cage, still running, just with more expensive cheese maybe.
And this whole trap is fueled by that underlying fear, especially as people get older.
You nailed it. Surveys consistently show the #1 fear among aging Americans is outliving their money, running out of savings in retirement.
That anxiety just pushes them deeper into the cycle, doesn't it? Work harder, try to save more, but if they don't understand how wealth works,
They just keep running faster on the same treadmill. They don't look for a way off. They just hope more effort solves a problem that requires different thinking.
okay, so how do you break free? What's the core lesson here?
It's profound, simple, and totally flips the script. The poor and the middle class work for money. The rich have money work for them.
It's not just about how much you make.
Not at all. It's about what you do with it. It's about managing it effectively. Financial aptitude, he calls it.
Which involves,
Several key things. Knowing how to make money, obviously, but also knowing how to keep people from taking it legally through understanding taxes, structures, protecting yourself, knowing how to keep it longer, and, critically, knowing how to make that money work hard for you.
making it generate more money, often without you having to trade your time for it.
Exactly. Passive income, asset growth. That's the goal.
And Robert's own childhood experience really drove this home for him, didn't it? The 10 cents an hour job.
Yeah, that's a great story. Rich Dad hired him and Mike for 10 cents an hour, doing menial tasks in one of his stores. Then, after a few weeks, he cut their pay to 0.
He made them work for free. Sounds rough.
For 3 weeks. But it wasn't about being cheap or exploitative. It was a lesson. It was designed to make them angry, frustrated, and then to force them to use their imagination, their most powerful asset. Rich Dad believed to find ways to make money without being dependent on a wage.
Challenging that work for money idea head on.
Completely. Shifting their focus from just earning an hourly wage to thinking about how to create a system, a way for money to flow to them.
And that led to their first little business, right? The comic book library.
Fantastic example. So simple, so brilliant for 9-year-olds. They saw an opportunity. Mike's mom's convenience store discarded old comic books. They collected them free inventory,
Okay.
cleaned them up, then set up shop in Mike's basement. They hired Mike's younger sister, Kim, paid her $1 a week, I think, to be the librarian.
A system.
Exactly. She managed the comics, kept track of things, and they charged neighborhood kids 10 cents admission to come in and read as many comics as they wanted for 2 hours.
Genius. Because the business made money.
Even when Robert and Mike weren't physically there, the money was working for them through the system they created, with Kim as the manager.
Yeah.
Passive income, essentially.
Even though it eventually got shut down.
Yeah, apparently there was a fight or something, and Rich Dad told them to close it. But the lesson? Learned, profoundly, how to create something that generates money independently of their direct labor. That's the key.
He uses more sophisticated examples later on with real estate.
Oh yeah, much more complex, showing how the principle scales up. He talks about finding distressed properties, houses maybe worth $75,000, but buying them for dirt cheap, like $20,000 because the seller's desperate.
Okay, buy low.
Then, instead of just flipping it traditionally, he'd sell it quickly, maybe for $60,000, but with no money down from the buyer.
How does that work?
He'd essentially act as the bank. The buyer would give him a promissory note, agreeing to pay him installments over time with interest. So Kiyosaki gets the $60,000 price eventually. But more importantly, he immediately creates an asset, the promissory note worth, say, $40,000, the difference between his purchase price and the finance sale price, in his asset column.
And this asset generates cash flow each month from the buyer's payments.
Exactly. And he points out the total time spent might only be 5 hours finding the deal, structuring it. That $40,000 asset was essentially invented through
Mhm.
financial intelligence. And crucially,
It wasn't immediately taxed like earned income.
right, it's capital gains,
Yeah.
often taxed differently and deferred until the note is fully paid or sold. It's a masterclass in making money work for you using financial engineering.
That's a perfect example of what we now call passive income, or maybe even a side hustle, but on a really strategic level.
Way beyond just delivering pizzas on the weekend. This is about structuring deals, leveraging finance, understanding the rules to create income streams not tied to your time, building that pipeline.
Like the story of Bill the pipeline builder versus Ed the bucket carrier.
Exactly. Building the system for long-term flow.
Okay, so building assets, making money work for you, it sounds great. But what stops most people? We talked about fear earlier.
Yeah, and fear is huge here. If we connect this all back, a primary difference, maybe the primary difference, between how rich people and poor people operate isn't the absence of fear. Everyone feels fear, especially fear of losing money.
It's how they manage it.
Precisely.
Yeah.
How they react to it. The rich learn to manage fear, to see it as a signal, maybe, but not as a stop sign. They convert it into focus, into action, into a reason to learn more before taking a calculated risk.
The book really pushes this idea that it's not just the smart who get ahead, but the bold.
Yeah. Financial genius isn't just technical knowledge knowing about stocks or real estate. It also requires courage. The courage to act when others are frozen by fear.
So many people let that fear of losing, fear of criticism, fear of failing, fear of just being different paralyze them.
They stay in the safe zone of the paycheck, even if it means staying stuck in the rat race forever.
Kiyosaki talks about that Texas attitude, right?
Yeah. Embracing failure, almost. Not being afraid to lose. Turning losses into wins. He quotes that Texas saying, if you're going to go broke, go big. It's about playing to win, not playing not to lose.
He uses the Alamo as an example, a huge defeat.
A total disaster militarily. But Texans yell, remember the Alamo.
Mm.
Why? Because they turn that failure into inspiration, a rallying cry for future victory.
Failure inspires winners. Failure defeats losers. That's a powerful quote from the book.
It really is. It reframes setbacks. They're not the end of the road. They're tuition payments for your financial education. They make you smarter, stronger for the next opportunity if you learn from them. Losers get defeated by failure and quit. Winners get inspired by it and try again, smarter.
And this is crucial because most people, when they do invest, play it incredibly safe, don't they?
Overly safe, usually. Their portfolios, if they even have one beyond basic retirement accounts, are often designed primarily not to lose money, rather than being designed to win big.
So lots of low-yield bonds, maybe CDs, balanced mutual funds that don't really go anywhere fast?
Yes, exactly. It's all about capital preservation, minimizing risk, which sounds prudent, but it often prevents any significant growth. Sometimes doesn't even keep pace with inflation. You sacrifice the potential gains that could actually lead to financial freedom because you're too afraid of any potential loss.
And tied into that fear is doubt and cynicism, right?
Oh yeah. Cynics criticize and winners analyze, Kiyosaki says. He gives examples like people dismissing real estate instantly. Oh, I don't want to fix toilets.
Right. They focus on one potential negative and shut their mind off to the whole opportunity.
Exactly. That one objection closes their mind to rental properties, potential cash flow, appreciation, tax benefits, all gone because of toilets. Or people avoiding the stock market entirely because they heard someone lost money once, missing decades of potential compound growth.
These doubts, these fears, these cynical objections, Kiyosaki calls them cripplers.
Yeah, they keep people poor because they focus on what they don't want or what might go wrong, instead of analyzing how to make things work, how to manage the risks, how to get what they do want.
Okay, so if managing fear and taking calculated risks is key, what does this mean for how we should approach our careers? Our jobs?
Well, Rich Dad's advice here was super counterintuitive, especially in our world that worships specialization and the steady paycheck.
What was his mantra?
Seek work for what you will learn more than what you will earn.
Wow, that flips everything upside down. Most people look for the highest salary first.
Right, and it flies in the face of that old joke. Job is an acronym for just over broke.
Hmm.
Rich Dad's point was that the skills and experience you gain, the learning, can be far more valuable long-term than a slightly bigger paycheck right now. It's about investing in your intellectual capital.
So specialization versus broad skills.
Exactly. Schools reward specialization. Right. Become an expert in one narrow field. Rich Dad encouraged the opposite. Know a little about a lot. Develop broad, transferable skills.
And Robert's own path showed that, didn't it? Quitting the oil company job.
Yeah. A high-paying, secure job with Standard Oil. He quit to join the Marines. Why? Not for the pay, obviously, to learn leadership skills, real-world, high-pressure leadership.
And then working in Rich Dad's businesses.
He deliberately worked in different areas: accounting, sales, marketing, construction, investing. He wasn't trying to become an expert accountant or salesman. He wanted to understand how all the pieces fit together, how the system worked. He'd sit in on meetings with bankers, lawyers, accountants, brokers, just listening, learning their language, understanding their roles in the empire.
Because those essential management skills, understanding cash flow, how systems work, how to manage people, are more valuable than just being really good at one specific task.
Far more valuable for building wealth or business, yes. And Kiyosaki really hammers home the power of sales and marketing
Oh,
skills.
the story about the journalist.
Yeah, it's unforgettable.
Eh.
He meets this talented writer with a master's in English Lit who aspires to be a best-selling author, like him. He suggests she take a sales course to learn how to promote her work.
And her reaction.
Horror. She was insulted. I have a master's degree. I'll never stoop so low as to learn how to sell.
Oof. Missing the point entirely.
Completely. Robert, who admits he's a terrible writer, stylistically, became a best-selling author, precisely because he understood sales and marketing. He knew how to communicate, persuade, connect with an audience, promote his product, the book.
So those communication skills, sales skills, are critical for success in almost any field, right? Even if it means maybe taking a lower paying job temporarily to learn them.
Absolutely. Raising capital, finding partners, negotiating deals, even just getting your ideas heard at all involves selling in a broad sense. It's about building your overall human capital, not just maximizing today's paycheck.
This focus on broad skills, learning, systems, it leads naturally into the power of entrepreneurship and using corporations, right? Which was huge for Rich Dad.
Central to his philosophy. Build businesses, don't just work for them. That parable of Ed the bucket carrier versus Bill the pipeline builder perfectly illustrates it.
Remind us quickly.
Ed works incredibly hard, physically hauling buckets of water from the river to the village. He gets paid per bucket. Hard work, direct pay. But if he stops hauling,
And the money stops.
exactly. Bill, meanwhile, disappears for months. People wonder what happened. He comes back with plans, investors, a construction crew. He builds a pipeline,
A system.
a system. It delivers cleaner water, 247, more reliably, and cheaper than Ed's buckets.
Yeah.
Bill might only make a penny per bucket delivered through his pipeline.
But he delivers billions of buckets, creating this massive, continuous cash flow stream into his pockets, whether he's physically working or sleeping or on vacation. System leverage.
That's the power of building a business, a system. But
Is entrepreneurship for everyone? Kiyosaki is pretty blunt about this, isn't he?
very blunt. He explicitly does not recommend everyone start a company.
Hmm.
He says, unless you have that deep burning desire, that passion, and a really high tolerance for risk and failure, don't do it.
Because the failure rates are brutal.
Astronomical. 9 out of 10 new companies fail within 5 years. And of the one that survives, 9 out of those fail in the next 5 years. The odds are heavily stacked against you.
So if you don't have that specific fire in the belly,
His advice is super practical. Keep your day job and mind your own business. Meaning, use the income from your job to diligently build your asset column on the side. That's your real business. Buy rental properties, invest in stocks, maybe start a small side business that doesn't require quitting your job. Leverage your salary to build passive income streams and financial freedom without taking on the immense risk and stress of a full-blown startup.
makes sense. Mind your own business, your asset column, not just your employer's business.
Precisely. And this ties into what he calls the biggest secret of the rich.
Corporations.
Yep. Understanding and using corporations legally. To understand why this is so powerful, you need a quick history lesson on taxes.
Okay. Where did income taxes start?
Originally, in places like England and the U.S., taxes were often temporary, maybe to pay for wars. And crucially, they were first levied only on the rich.
How did they sell that?
Easy. Tell the poor and the middle class, these taxes are to punish the rich. It's about fairness, redistribution.
Yeah.
So naturally, the masses voted for it. Who wouldn't vote for taxing someone else?
But then what happened?
The government got a taste for that revenue, and its appetite grew and grew.
Yeah.
And the rich, they didn't just sit there and take it. They're financially smart. They reacted. They used their money, their influence, their knowledge. They hired the best lawyers, the smartest accountants. They lobbied politicians. They found ways to legally structure things, to use the tax code to their advantage. The laws evolved. Loopholes were created. Incentives were built in, often designed to encourage business building and investment activities the rich were already doing.
And eventually the tax burden trickled down.
Exactly. The tax the rich idea was gradually expanded to include lower and lower income levels until eventually the middle class and even the poor, the very people who were initially voted for it, were paying significant income taxes too,
While the rich had found ways to legally minimize their burden.
largely through understanding and using corporations. Now, what is a corporation? It's not the building, not necessarily the people.
It's just a legal document, right? A legal entity.
Exactly. A file folder in an attorney's office that creates a separate legal person. And here's the profound advantage, the core secret. Corporations pay expenses before they pay taxes.
Okay. Contrast that with an employee.
An employee earns their salary. The government takes taxes out first, income tax, Social Security, Medicare. Then, with what's left, the employee pays for their house, car, food, vacations, health club, everything.
Using post-tax dollars.
Right. Now, the corporation, it earns income. Then, it pays for all its legitimate business expenses.
Yeah.
Maybe the car used for business, business travel, which could be that board meeting in Hawaii, certain insurance, maybe health club dues if related to business, continuing education, supplies, before any taxes are calculated on the remaining profit.
So you're using pre-tax dollars for many expenses that an employee pays for with post-tax dollars.
That's the huge advantage. It dramatically reduces taxable income, keeping more money within your control, money you can then reinvest to buy more assets within the corporate structure.
And there's legal protection, too.
Big time. Rich Dad explained that wealthy individuals often control everything through their corporations and trusts, but technically own nothing personally. So if they get sued personally, their assets held within the corporation are generally protected. It creates a legal shield.
It's not about illegal tax evasion.
Absolutely not. It's about understanding the rules of the game, the tax code as it's written, and using it legally and intelligently to your advantage. As Rich Dad famously said, the tax man will take as much as you let him. It's up to you to learn how to legally minimize what you let him take. Many tax laws are actually designed to incentivize business creation and investment to boost the economy. The rich just understand how to use those incentives.
Wow. Okay, so summing up this deep dive, we've really covered some critical ground, haven't we? Those contrasting mindsets of the two dads, how they shape our core beliefs about money.
That crystal clear definition of assets versus liabilities, knowing the difference, is absolutely fundamental. Buy assets.
Understanding that relentless rat race, how it's driven by fear and greed, and how it traps so many people.
And the liberating power of shifting your focus from working for money to making money work for you, working to learn valuable skills.
And finally, leveraging entrepreneurship, building systems, and using smart financial structures like corporations to protect and grow wealth.
It really boils down to financial intelligence, doesn't it? It's not just making money. It's managing it skillfully, understanding cash flow, protecting your wealth from taxes and predators legally, having the courage to act, managing fear.
It's about breaking free from that conventional wisdom that often keeps people trapped and consciously choosing a different path, one towards real financial freedom where your assets are doing the heavy lifting.
Where your money becomes your best employee, working 24/7.
Robert Kiyosaki has this definition of wealth I find really thought-provoking. He says wealth is a person's ability to survive so many number of days forward, or if I stopped working today, how long could I survive?
That really cuts to the chase, doesn't it?
Mhm.
It's not about how much you earn, but how long your assets can sustain you without your active labor.
And we've seen today how financial intelligence, applying these rich dad principles, can dramatically extend that timeline, building those passive income streams, those assets that work for you.
It's about building true security, not just the illusion of security from a paycheck.
So as you reflect on everything we've unpacked today, the two dads, assets versus liabilities, the rat race, corporations, here's a final thought to chew on. What one small, maybe, but impactful change, a change in your daily choices, perhaps your spending habits, maybe your approach to learning about money. What one change will you implement starting today to begin building your financial pipeline and ultimately creating your own luck?